Hey guys, what's up? So I'm heading out to do some videos. So you can see I've got my camera over my shoulder, tripod, backpack with some gear in it so I can set some things up. And so I'm just gonna go over here to my standard spot, actually just a little bit over from my standard spot, and we'll talk about a few things. Figured I'd bring you along and maybe do a little bit of tips while I'm out there and kind of show you what I'm working on, so you guys can know what the next video is gonna look like. All right, let's go. I don't know if you guys can see right there by that middle tree, there's a gray bird. I don't know if it's a crane or a heron. Not my area of specialty, but very cool bird. Okay, so I just dropped the gear right here. Right over there, that's where I normally set up hammocks and stuff. And so right here, I'm in this little spot. I did a Big Agnes tent review right here. And so that's what I'm doing over here is I'll be setting up the Haven as a tent and doing a video on that and talking about some of the accessories that go with it. But just thought I'd bring you along and show you that and talk about the importance of selecting a good campsite. So I think that's something that probably goes overlooked a lot, is what goes into selecting a good campsite. And so you think about it a lot when you're dealing with hammocks because you're talking about trees. And so you want to make sure that you find good trees. So, you know, this right here may be a good tree. This one right here might be a good tree. For a hammock, you want to make sure that you've got, you know, a nice solid tree, something you can grab a hold of. It's not going to move too much, and that you can get high enough. You know, for me, I like to go a little above head height with my straps, and depending on how far apart they are, you may need to go higher. So the further apart the trees are, the higher you're going to need to go. But it's not just finding a tree that's solid, it's looking around. What's the other tree look like? Well, in this case, you know, this would be maybe the other tree, and well, it's just this dead stump, and well, it's just kind of there and dead. Probably not the best option, but it actually is is relatively solid. If this was the right distance, if this was the right area, that could work. Thing I've told a lot of people, and I'll say it again, is never hang your hammock higher than you're willing to fall. But it's not always about a hammock. Sometimes it's about a tent or cowboy camping. And so you're always looking for a good spot. So what is a good spot? Well, it depends. It depends on what you're looking for. A hammock can get away with a lot more irregularity in the ground. For a tent, you're wanting more of a flat spot, somewhere that you can set up and not have your head be below your feet or your feet be way below your head or be sliding. If you've got two people in a tent, you don't want to roll over and end up laying on top of the other person. So those are all things that you want to keep in mind. But the biggest piece, and like I said, it's talked about in hammocks, but it's not so talked about in tents, is checking above you. So when you find that spot, you want to look up at those trees. And when you find things like this, so we call these widowmakers. So this is a branch that has fallen, it has broken, but it is still hanging in the tree right there. And I don't think that that one is connected at all. So the right gust of wind, that comes down. Now if that's a big branch or a big tree and it comes down, consequences can be deadly. So make sure you check that out. A little later on, I'm going to share a story with you about setting up, but for right now, I'm going to go ahead and get this going. Got a video to do. While I've got this set up, we could sit here and talk. So cool story. It was the first time Rayman and I had done the any section of the Ozark Highlands Trail, which is another one of the longer trails in Arkansas. So we started at Lake Fort Smith, hiked a few miles in. Like a lot of times, what we did was we went in after work on either a Thursday or Friday. We either took Friday off or we went in Friday night, hiked in a few miles, found a spot. Now it's harder. You know, all those things that I said you're looking for in a spot, it's harder when it's dark out. So during your day, you're kind of looking for spots. You're like, oh, that would be a good spot. Oh, that would be a good spot. But when it actually gets time to set up, sometimes it's pretty damn hard to find that right spot. And so you've just got to take your time and find that one spot. But on this occasion, we found a nice spot. It was pretty open and it had trees that were really nicely spaced. So I selected my trees, got set up. Rain Man was over selecting his trees. He got all set up. I think we did dinner, maybe just some dessert or something, I don't remember. And then we went to bed. And I know it was late. It's always late because what we end up doing is we shuttle 2 cars. We meet up at wherever we're ending, shuttle back to where we're starting. And so it was a longer day. We had been out there for a while. Got into our hammocks, and Rayman was like, I don't like the way that this one feels. I'm feeling pretty bouncy. So he moved and went further down, and he was not out of his spot for 5 minutes. Maybe it was 5 minutes, I don't remember. It was very shortly after he moved that we heard this tremendous kaboom. And one of the trees that he was attached to, it looked like it was alive. It looked fine. The problem is when you're out in, like right now, if you're out right now, all these trees, none of them have leaves on them. So this tree right here looks like it's alive, but maybe it's completely dead. And these leaves are just residual from years ago. But the tree that he was originally attached to obviously was completely dead. It ended up falling over. Weirdest thing, and the reason that I remember this so vividly, and other than the fact that it absolutely could have smashed him and killed him, because it was a big tree, probably 2.5 feet around. The root system of the tree was glowing. It had a bioluminescent fungi that had a mold that was what was eating the roots of it, and what caused the roots to give up and for the tree to fall over. So the stress of Rain Man hanging from it was all it took to dislodge it enough that it fell over. Luckily, not while he was there. Could have been a really bad trip that ended really quickly. But the coolest thing was these roots were glowing. I mean, literally glowing. And it was first time I've ever seen that. I asked a bunch of people about it. I was like, holy crap, what is this? And people knew what it was. Really cool. Scary as hell. Really cool. But it reinforces the reason why you're looking around to figure out what it is, and why I said to grab a hold. And it was his intuition. It didn't feel right when he hung from it. There was a little bit too much give in the trees, and for the size trees he had, there should have been zero give. There should have been no give at all. And so knowing your stuff, knowing your setup, knowing what your suspension and your hammock feels like, can help you to identify things like that and keep you out of a really, really shitty situation. Okay, so I was able to come out here today, get a little bit of filming done, set this thing up as a tent, show you guys that, and I talked through some accessories that Haven has that are pretty cool. Lots more stuff coming. I think that along with doing these, I will probably do some like 5-minute reviews. What I found as I've gone through analytics and looking at YouTube videos and how my videos perform, people have very short attention spans. And so maybe if I go with something like a 5-minute review, I can hit a broader target audience, and more people will stick around. Additionally, I found that like 85% of you watching these videos are not subscribed. So please do me a favor, go down and hit that subscribe button. Costs you absolutely nothing. Helps get me in that algorithm, helps them know that people are actually watching and enjoying what I'm putting out. So if you like this, if you like what I'm doing, help me out, go down and hit that. All right, guys, that's all I've got for today. Still hunting for a job. See you guys down the trail.